Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 192 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Gage, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to have you back this week.
Yeah, thanks for holding down the fort for me. Hopefully the one on, well, I guess you had Jocelyn as a guest as well. But yeah, good to be back. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we do them for several reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. We love all of your questions and feedback and topics. So feel free to leave them in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to as many as possible. And I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. See people mentioning all the awesome cities they're tuning in from. Really cool to see. I think I saw Mesa, Arizona for the first time. I lived in Arizona for a bit, and I've been to Mesa, so that's cool. Let's see. What else do we have here? Hey, Clarine, hope you're doing well.
Cool. Thanks, Clarine.
Lots of folks saying that Dan did a great job. Good to know.
I'll take it. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, it was fun. I like doing them solo once in a while. Nice to mix it up and just try out different things. And like we always say, we try to do these in part just to put ourselves in the same place. You guys are in every time when you go live, so it's good to go solo once in a while. But yeah, it was helpful to have Jocelyn on for the second half as well, for sure.
Yeah, it is. I'd be curious if other people in watching have that same experience. I feel like the difference between streaming by yourself and with a guest is very different experience. I'm curious if you guys agree or what your experience is like with that. Before I forget, we have some awesome shows that I always like to remind people of, and that's YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel, second Saturday of every month. Really great show where they do a deep dive on someone's channel from the audience. So if you're looking for specific feedback on how to grow on YouTube, it's a really great resource for that, where they'll go into all kinds of details in terms of how to title your videos, how to come up with a compelling thumbnail to get those click-through rates, how to sort of tailor your audience so it makes the most sense for the YouTube algorithm and that type of stuff. So definitely check that out if you're looking to grow on YouTube. And we have Enhance Your live streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin. Really great show. Nick's a pro when it comes to all things live streaming, all things video and YouTube. So if you're looking for specific live streaming advice, definitely check that one out. And then one thing we've been doing each one of these weeks so that we get to know a little bit more about you guys and you get to know a little bit more about us is a fun fact. And for this fun fact, I think it's been a while since Dan and I have played on a gaming console, but definitely from childhood, there were definitely a few to choose from. So for this one, we had favorite gaming console. And if you don't even have one, that's a valid answer as well. I'd be curious how many of you have one or don't have one. But yeah, what's your favorite or historically favorite gaming console, Dan?
So mine has to be Nintendo 64, just because if I think back to over the years, I think we had a Nintendo 64, GameCube, and then PS2. I want to say when I was younger. Yeah, and Nintendo 64 is the one I was by far the most excited about. Maybe that's just because that's the first one I ever had, but it's timeless too. I still have mine. Every once in a while we'll play it, and it still works like a charm. How about you?
Awesome. It's definitely a tough one. N64 was amazing, but I think I'd have to choose just because it was the first one I ever played, and I remember it being like crazy to me that it was even possible that it could do what it could do. Is the Super Nintendo, so the one before the Nintendo 64. But it's a really hard choice. They were both pretty awesome. But yeah, definitely, it still holds up till this day too. If you ever play an old Super Nintendo game, it's cool how good a lot of those games are.
The graphics are a little jarring, but how
they're a little different. Yeah, for sure.
It takes a bit of getting used to.
Awesome. Let's see what we have here. Mike still plays Xbox. Atari. That's a good one. I never actually played the Atari. Definitely some Nintendo 64 fans. We got a pretty good spread across all of them. Let's see what else we had here. We got a question from Packer Dude says, why did you choose to name the platform StreamYard? Do you want to answer that one, Dan? I feel like I always answer it.
Yeah, I can definitely answer that. So it's always tough coming up with a name for anyone that's ever had to name a company. I'm sure you know what I mean. You got to look into trademark issues. You got to look into domains, right? We wanted to get a .com domain, so we needed to find something that would work for that. Obviously, StreamYard is all about streaming, so that's kind of where the stream comes from. The yard part was really, it came from, we were thinking of like a shipyard or something where you would build a stream. It's like, this is the place you go to build your live streams or create your live streams, and that's kind of where that came from. And then the duck basically came because we're a very friendly company. We're super personable. We always love interacting with our audience, and we just tried to capture that within a logo itself. So we figured let's have a very friendly animal as our logo.
Absolutely, something that was memorable. Thought a duck made sense for that. Anric said, "Do you see the LinkedIn comments? I struggle with that every day." Yeah, we see your comments, Anric. You should see them as well. The one thing that it could be is I know that there is a privacy setting with LinkedIn. So if someone's profile is set to private, it will say, I believe, LinkedIn user, right? Instead of showing their name, Dan.
Yeah, it's not even private. I don't think it's the right word. It's if they've chosen to not expose their data outside of LinkedIn, so they don't really show up in searches outside of LinkedIn itself. So, Enric, I'd be curious, are you not seeing any comments, or are you seeing comments that all say LinkedIn user? Because if it's the LinkedIn user, it's basically a setting that those users have chosen to turn off so that nothing outside of LinkedIn can actually see who they are. And it's a global setting for all of LinkedIn. It's not like a live streaming specific setting. It's very global. And they can change that, but you'd have to ask them to go and change it. And most likely they turn that on for a reason. I think the setting is called like, I don't want to show up in searches outside of LinkedIn or something to that effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're looking for additional help, Anric, there's StreamYard.com/contact. Our support team can help troubleshoot with you.
Yep.
Mike said the Daniel and D show was like Oprah giving away stuff. Let's keep the trend going. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it, Mike.
Cool.
Let's see what else we had here. Question from Pixel Pia says, I still would love to choose the corner for my picture in picture. Need it for tutorials. Is that coming? Yes, Pixel Pia. We're working on a way to add more flexibility in general for people that are looking to do more customization around things like exactly what you're asking for. So stay tuned on that. We did have some topics we wanted to hit on tonight. We mentioned it the last few weeks, but just a reminder, LinkedIn Live Access has greatly expanded. So for those of you that have tried to go live in the past that couldn't, curious how many of you have been able to successfully go live and what your experience has been like. It would be good to know. I think I saw you in the chat, April. It's nice to see you here. I think you had mentioned having trouble getting access in the past. So curious if you've been able to go live and how that's been. The other thing we wanted to ask, because we're starting to build out more and more materials to help people be successful with their live streams, is what was actually the hardest thing to learn about when you started live streaming? We're curious what that was for you guys. Let's see what else we have here. Doggy Trader says, any chance of having two banners scrolling at the same time? I report prices for both Forex and crypto and would love to have both running simultaneously.
So the closest thing you could do there is to have a banner and a ticker. And I don't know if that works for you, or you could have a ticker with two different pieces of content. So for example, I don't know how much, like how long these prices are that you're reporting, but if they're both pretty small, like, hey, the price of this is this, the price of this is this, you can maybe put them both in a ticker right next to each other. And in the same way that the news will put like 10 things in the same ticker, it's just like all of the news in one ticker. That's super long. You could have maybe two short segments in the same ticker. Or yeah, you could have one as a banner, one as a ticker. We don't have the ability to do two scrolling banners. That might also look kind of intense if you did actually have, I don't know if this is how you're picturing it, but one on top of each other where they're both moving. That might be a bit much. Yeah, curious. Let me know if that helps or if I'm totally missing it.
Awesome. Let's see what else we had here. Appreciate that, April. That's good to know. Woodward says the hardest thing was where to start, how to do it from scratch. That's good to know, Woodward. I'd be curious what sort of how you figured that out and what you ultimately came to the conclusion of to figure out how to actually get started. Mike says, "Watch Nick made it easy to start." That's awesome. I'll have to let Nick know. For anyone that doesn't know what Mike's referring to, that's Nick Nimmin, who has his own great channel, and then also does great videos on the StreamYard YouTube channel as well.
Yep.
Amith has completed 75 weekly live talk episodes with StreamYard from Sri Lanka. That's awesome, Amith. Congrats on that.
Cool.
Matt says, any update on when Twitter will allow comments and view numbers to show up in StreamYard? I do not have an update for you, Matt. I wish I had a concrete date. It's something that Twitter needs to enable on their API, and as soon as they do, we'll certainly support it. But I don't have a date, but we would love to support it as soon as it's available.
Yep.
Pixel Pius says, hardest part about starting live streaming is to have a great flow. It gets easier with practice and having a bunch of uploaded fun overlays to use when hiccups happen. Awesome. Good to know.
Cool.
Clarine says, hardest thing for me to overcome when starting streaming was getting over my anxiety and being fearful of making mistakes. Yeah, that's I'm sure a huge one for people that many people don't even overcome in the first place. So yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely, I still get a little bit nervous even today. So, and it was definitely more nerve wracking at the start. So that's good to know.
Yeah, and by yourself as well, same thing. Or if you already have a pretty big audience, but you've never really gone live before, I'm sure that's more intimidating than just from scratch. But yeah.
Kamal says, are there any plans for StreamYard pricing in India? I believe we do have the option to charge in your own currency. We offer a few different currencies now, right, Dan?
Yeah, so in rupees in India, yeah.
Yeah, so Kamal, in the if you go into your settings on StreamYard and change the currency, you should be able to pay in rupees.
I think it's on the pricing page, at the bottom of the pricing page.
Doggy Trader says MSNBC, CNBC run two tickers at the same time. Awesome. We'll have to check that out to see what it looks like. I'd be curious to see how that looks.
Yeah, I would be curious, actually. We spent a whole bunch of time looking at various tickers when we launched it. And if you're familiar with how we tend to think about things, for us, it's all about how do we give you as much functionality as possible to make it super, super easy to use. So, obviously on TV, you're going to see all kinds of crazy things going on, but they often have whole teams of people coordinating that stuff. So for us, it's really about how do we make it simple for just one person to run this show, or, maybe you could have co-hosts, but one person can run it, no problem. And that's why we kind of limit, not giving you too many features to play with, but yeah, definitely interested just to see what else is out there. And also be curious what it actually looks like running two, if just one's faster than the other one, if they go in opposite directions or the same direction. I assume the same direction. And I think I may have seen examples of that even, but I don't remember. It's been a while.
Cool. Joshua says, is there an ETA for YouTube gifting membership notifications in the StreamYard chat? No specific date, Joshua, but we are actively discussing with YouTube additional sort of information to get during a live stream, things like, stickers for the super chats and like those types of additional sort of notifications. So it's something we're actively exploring and chatting with YouTube about.
Yeah, and we do show when you get a new, like when somebody else subscribes as a member, I believe we do show that. Gifting membership, that I don't know. I assume not.
All right. There's lots of great feedback here on the hardest part to start. This is super useful for us, so appreciate that. Woodward says, please allow 10 megabytes for overlays. I would love to add confetti for special moments like, or special moments live and can't get the megabytes down low enough. Any thoughts on the overlays, Dan?
Actually, I think Dana has a cool confetti gift she could send you for that, unless you need like a very specific one. But yeah, we would like to make that longer. GIFs are kind of unfortunate in that you can't really optimize them much, so it can be pretty heavy on your computer or your guest computer if you're playing this massive GIF file, which is why we do limit it. But yeah, I would love to figure out a way to make it higher. So yeah, hopefully we can do that. There's a few different ways basically we're exploring to make that work and still work really well without causing any side effects or any issues.
Stuart says, hardest challenge, avoiding using fillers, ums and ahs, Yes, I'm definitely bad for that one. Trying to, I just did it, trying to improve it.
Yeah, there's definitely public speaking training can be really good for that. You usually have someone who's just fully dedicated to looking for filler words.
Let's see here. Libby says, I struggle to smoothly switch between displays. Would love a preview option for what's next. That's cool feedback, Libby. So essentially, you want a way to see like what's going to happen before you actually make the switch between displays. If you can share any more detail in terms of like what you're actually like switching between, would love to know. Freedom Patriot Network says, it was really easy to use StreamYard. I've learned a lot from StreamYard and from past live streams. That's awesome. Thanks for that, Freedom Patriot. All right. I think we had another question here about, where did it go? Josh says, any further updates on the ability to pause and restart and record only broadcasts? Is this something that is in progress and being looked into? Yeah, Josh, absolutely. This is something that's really important to us that we're actively working on and is coming very soon. I think you'll be really happy with the flow that we're working on for it, because we know it's a big request from folks. So stay tuned for that.
We're also always curious if there's any other things you want with recording. So you mentioned both pausing and restarting. Is there anything in addition to those two? And which one of those do you care about more, basically? Like pausing, like I want to stop for a minute or two, come back, continue, or is it just, I want to do another take and restart? Is one of those more important than the other? And that applies for everyone who wants that.
Well, cool. Clock Dodgers podcast says, will you ever be able to create clips within StreamYard? That's a cool question, Clock Dodgers. I'd be super curious the types of clips that you're thinking and sort of how you imagine that working. Is that like, do you sort of mean, if you could let me know the types of clips you're thinking, that would be helpful to know. If you just mean like maybe creating like a short video in StreamYard, is that what you mean?
I think he's talking, you finish the stream and then you can clip it up.
Oh, cool. Do you have any thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, just a couple questions, I guess. Would you want to be able to clip any length of video? Like, are you basically looking to do, hey, I'm finished and now I want to create a separate video for YouTube that's 5 minutes long? Are you hoping to create TikTok or TikToks or shorts or reels? Is it something else? Always curious what you're trying to do with that. But yes, we could potentially be interested in that.
Awesome. Josher says, please consider adding stream markers for editing clips within StreamYard that export to a CSV with stream markers. I think that's a really cool request, Josher, to allow for more or easier editing in general, to sort of like mark when something that you care about happens. So yeah, we'll certainly consider it. Appreciate the additional clarification, Libby. Example from today, I had two guests moving from featuring one's overhead camera to showing the next person's overhead camera. Can't seem to do it smoothly. Wish I could set up guest number 2 while guest number 1 is still speaking, then just switch it over. So
interesting. So you should be able to do that, depending exactly what your setup looks like, I should say. So for example, and let me know if this is roughly what you're going for. So let's say Gage was the first camera. So you'd have Gage full screen, and then you can go directly to me full screen. And Gage is still here. We haven't actually taken him off or anything. And that's just using, we call it the solo button on the cards at the bottom. You might already know all this, and maybe there's a reason you can't do it exactly like that. But usually just clicking that full screen solo button on top on an individual person will do that. But yeah, let us know if I'm missing and there's something that would prevent you from doing that.
Gotcha. And we're also working on some more advanced ways to deal with, like we sort of mentioned earlier, to do more specific custom things with layouts. So stay tuned for that. And the chat can help as well, Libby, if you want someone to sort of help walk you through that flow. All right. Let's see what else we had here. After Stuart's feedback on the hardest challenge being ums and ahs, I'm painfully aware now of how often I'm saying it. It's like distracting me. Should we go ahead?
That's also the first step to fixing it, though.
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe I'll get better now that I'm noticing it every single time I'm doing it. Do you want to go ahead and queue up the giveaway for tonight, Dan?
You bet I do.
Sounds like people are big fans of the stream markers idea. Yeah, I definitely think it's a cool suggestion. Let's see if there's any final one here. Yeah, so the giveaway. So every week we do a giveaway. So to be eligible, all you have to do is type in hashtag the yard, and you'll have a chance to win. Tonight we'll give away the StreamYard sweater and the StreamYard duck. And I think I've got a picture of definitely the duck. I don't know about the sweater. Let me double check. So this is the StreamYard duck, and then the StreamYard sweater is on the left there, but the logo's much bigger now. So I think it's a nicer.
It's the
sweater.
comfiest sweater ever.
Yeah, it's very soft. So we'll give you 15 to 20 seconds or so to get your hashtag the yards in. And if you're curious to do your own giveaways or you'd like to do your own, we actually made this tool available. So if you go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, you can actually run a giveaway just like how we're doing now. If you're curious to do that,
you betcha. Maybe one more.
Bubba says stream markers would also help keep your run a show. I would use this on the daily with my news/analysis streams. Awesome. Super good to know.
And just to confirm for everyone that's asking about stream markers, are you basically saying you're doing the stream and then maybe, Gage said something really interesting and I just flag that for later? I click some kind of button or a hotkey maybe or something. Is that what you're referring to? Or is it something, just the way Beauty Bubble phrased it almost made me think it was something you would set up in advance? But I think I might just be misunderstanding that one.
Yeah, let us know. That was my understanding, Dan.
I like NLTMWs.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would be at a pretty high count, I think, by the end of it. But it would be helpful,
point,
for
right?
knowing.
It'll be high on the first one, a little lower on the second one, a little lower on the third one, and then gone. Could also make a bit of a noise as well. Hopefully just for you, if you have headphones on, just so you know. But that'd be even more distracting. Cool. I think we're good to run this, Gage.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, everyone, for a sweater and a plush duck. Good luck.
West Coast retrospective. Congrats. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. If you shoot an email to contact@streamyard.com, someone on our team can work with you to get your address and ship you your duck and your sweater and get your size and stuff.
Cool.
Congrats again.
Congrats.
Let's Go So with Joanne says, I goofed the first time I used the tool and didn't have it show up in the screen, but it ran in the background. Need to try again and find out what I did wrong. So you do have to screen share it, Joanne. At some point, we might make it a little bit easier and more integrated, but you have to, in a separate tab, open up that giveaway tool and then screen share it like Dan did tonight for it to actually show up in the studio.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm literally like clicking screen share at the bottom, choosing Chrome tab. I've just got another monitor, but you wouldn't need another monitor. You just choose to share the giveaway tool, and then whenever you're ready, that'll be on screen. Whenever you're ready, you go to the giveaway tool tab, click to start, or click to do the draw.
Cool. Tech in the bathroom says, will TikTok Live come? We absolutely, as soon as TikTok Live has a live API, we'd love to support TikTok. So stay tuned on that. When it becomes available, we'll certainly support it.
Yeah, it's basically, just so you know, TikTok doesn't have an API for live streaming, so you can only stream to TikTok Live from the TikTok app. But yeah, hopefully that will change in the future at some point.
Absolutely. Joshua says, is there a beta program? I work with a few YouTube live streamers. There is a beta program, Joshua. We haven't added anyone to it for a while, but if you are interested in participating, shoot an email to contact@streamyard.com, and they might be able to add you into the program.
Yep, and we don't test all our features with beta users, but once in a while we will.
Absolutely. Awesome, Libby, really glad that it was helpful.
Cool. And just to confirm as well, it's just to make sure you know exactly where it is. It's those, we always call them the cards, but it's the videos at the bottom below the main video area. In the top left corner, they have a layout looking button of just one person. That's the solo button. And you can do the same thing for screen share as well. And if you're on that layout, you can just click on it for someone else and it'll switch to solo for that other person.
Absolutely. Thanks, April, for the clarification. So for April, she's thinking stream markers indicate the timestamp you can save while live to go back later in order to create the sound bites. And I think in Josh's original suggestion, it was actually like a CSV file where it sort of synced up with the track.
Cool. Makes sense.
Clarine says no SY staff today. We did have someone planned. He'll have to come in the future. He's having some internet issues, but I do think we'll sort of have a few weeks where we have staff and don't have staff, just so sometimes there's more time for questions. Because I know when we do the interviews, that is a lot of the stream. So we want to make sure sometimes we have plenty of time to answer all your feedback and questions. Yep. McKnight says, is it possible to upload pre-recorded video during live streams on StreamYard? Yes, absolutely. There's a bunch of options for that. And if the question is specifically about like while the stream is actually live, that's possible too. So you can do it either before as part of your prep, which is probably definitely what I would recommend, just so you're not sort of stressed out while you're trying to do your live stream and upload a video. But you can do it. If you have a co-host, then it's even easier, right? Because someone else can do it while you're paying attention to the show. But in the video clip section, you can upload videos. You can also use the share option and share videos directly on your computer. You can upload a pre-recorded video for the whole live stream when you actually create the broadcast. So there's tons of options there, McKnight.
Yep. And to give you like the quick list of why you would want to do one versus the other, if let's say you want to do an intro video or an outro video, something you're going to play every time, you want it to be super high quality, you always want it to be there, I would use the brand tab on the side and the video clips section, like Gage said, where if it's something, maybe it's a 10-minute video or an hour-long video you want to just play once in one stream, you can use the share button at the bottom of the page. And the nice thing there is it's not even going to bother uploading it to our servers. It's basically going to stream it right from your computer. So you don't have to wait for it to upload or anything like that, which is really good. If you're mid-show and you suddenly remember, hey, I want to share this cool video, or even if your guest wants to share a video, they can do it partway through the show. So it's great for just kind of spontaneous sharing, or anytime you want to share something super long. And then like Gage said, with pre-recorded streaming, that's not even in the studio, that's from the dashboard. And that's if you want to record something in advance, or you just have a video and you want that to be the entire stream. So there's no studio, there's no comments, none of that. You're just taking a video and streaming it to the platforms very simply without anything else.
Absolutely. Jerry Thompson says, a reminder that broadcast templates for repeated shows would be great. Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. Totally agree with you on that. I find myself constantly copying and pasting bits from previous shows. So it's something we'd absolutely love to improve and have some sort of solution for.
Yep.
All right. I think we maybe have time for one or two more here. BuzzTube says, when I go live on StreamYard, how can I send emails to people doing broadcast interviews? Any ideas? So BuzzTube, correct me if I'm misunderstanding the question, but I assume, is this like a notification type thing, like where you want to notify before you go live over email people that you're live streaming? If that's the question, there's a few ways to do it. There's none that are built directly into StreamYard. We have considered integrating maybe with tools that send emails, but the way that other folks I've seen do it now is basically they'll use something like MailChimp or ConvertKit. There's a ton of them out there that basically handle collecting and sending emails, and they'll have their email list on that tool and just send out an email through that tool saying, hey, I'm going to be live here, and they'll share the StreamYard view on link for YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever they're going live on. But if that's not the question, let me know. All right. Let's see if let's do one more here. Let's see. Doggy Trader says, question regarding banners again. Any chance in being able to change the font size and or location of the bubble on the screen? So you do have a few options with the themes. So I think there's the 4. Is there 4, Dan?
You got it.
4 to choose from right now, which changes everything from how the comments look to banners and whatnot. That's sort of what you're limited to now. But like I sort of mentioned at the beginning of the stream, we are looking into deeper customization and adding more themes and things like that. So stay tuned on that. And with that, this was episode 192 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure talking with you and getting your questions and feedback. We'll see you next week at the same time.
Perfect. See you next week, everyone.